Well, we just had 3/4 of an inch of rain or 2 centimeters of rain inside of about 30 minutes. So take a quick little walk here. We do have, and it was hailing too. Gotta keep an eye out. I think it's past us, but anyway, we got standing water underneath the Diversion swale. Let's walk down to the other swale below it. Yeah, this one is definitely full. You can see the water level is right up to where the wood chips are. Then we're going to walk down to the diversion swale. This is where I want the water to cut across this way so it doesn't run down to my shop. I do have some puddling here. But that's okay. But this whole diversion swale is made to carry the water through my terrace system, which then goes to my pond. Looks like I don't think it got up high enough to get to the end of the culvert there. But this diversion swale, I had to fill in about 1/3 of it to keep it from running over, or that was my plan. I do have some puddling here, which is always good to make a video record so you can come back and fix it. And that's my motto here. I've got a skid steer, I'll fix it. Anyway, we're gonna walk down the terrace real quick. All right, I am in the terrace and I want to look at this pocket pond I have below it. So it got, I don't know, it may have got 8 inches of water in it. This part of this terrace I consider a deep root zone. I just, up to where this pipe is, I'm just letting it go. Deep roots in the ground, let it seed out. We're walking down the terrace itself, not seeing where we got any kind of water flowing. We had kind of put these rocks on here to try to dam the water so it would fill up, overflow, and then soak in. I think I'm gonna end up coming and just digging out little 4-inch deep squares to hold the water. But there is, well, there's lightning off to the left. I mean, there is standing water in here. But let's get down to the pond systems and see if water's running. Yeah, we got some water flowing over here. I think this whole terrace system is about easily over 100 yards long. Anyway, so that's where the water, it enters this culvert. Yeah, we've got flow over here. It's actually moving water. So it comes out of this culvert and just flows into my sediment pond. And I've got 2 other flows here. Let me get on the other side of this fence. Okay, so that's the terrace as the water flows down here. It's coming out under this terrace, and you can, I mean, it's definitely, the water's definitely moving. If you look close, you can see it moving. Anyway, so it's flowing. Showing the moving water. Anyway, it's flowing into the sediment pond, doing its job. And then we have 2 different flow outs here. This, you can actually see 2 different flows. This is from the terrace, this is from the street. But if I turn around and follow that water, it goes into my neighbor's property. And this is water from this side of the paved road, which is just on the other side of these trees. Then I have another flow into this pocket pond, which is on the other side of the paved road. We'll go look at it. It was, this one was empty before this rain started. But I'm using this as a first settling device where, I mean, you can't control what the neighbors are doing, so I'm trying to get this initial water to come in and fill up this and settle in. If there's pollutants or anything in it, it's kind of a cleaning device. But it is getting real close to overflowing. So once it overflows, it'll be a third water flow into my sediment pond. All right, let's keep walking. Now I've been trying to catch my one log dam for you guys overflowing because it's kind of cool. But the problem is the more of this stuff I do above it, the less chance of water flow I'm getting down. I mean, think about all the water that was in this pocket pond here. If that pocket pond wasn't here, all that water would be in here and it would already be overflowing just from that additional water. On the good side, if I didn't have it, that would fill up this other pond faster, which is we call my new pond. Anyway, it's actually leaking out the bottom from what I can tell, so it's not holding water, but we'll get it fixed. We are going to make it to one log dam, but based on what I'm seeing, it's probably not overflowing. But we'll be there in a minute. Do have some good puddling. I guess this is a little berm that Zach had built. Anyway, so all the water, I think all the water raining on this side ends up into the pond there. And I think this hill here is, I think it's called a sun scoop. It's just some of the leftover material from building the big pond. You kind of scooped it to catch the sun. Maybe stuff would grow or start earlier in the season when the sun's hitting it, warm up faster. A lot of mulch down here, so it's soaking up the water. There's some puddling outside of the mulch area. This is my brush dam, but I've thrown some soil and I've thrown some hay and stuff in it to try to clog it up a little bit. But like I said, because of what I'm doing upstream, there's not a whole lot of water flowing down here until the big pond overflows. You know, this will kick in after the big pond overflows, and then it'll start capturing the water. But it's just not getting enough runoff. It's only coming from the sides. It's not coming down the hill. All right, low water crossing. Well, it's actually got a pretty decent amount of water. Concrete low water crossing, which actually serves as a dam to hold the water, and I'll come scoop soil out here because it'll fill in with sediment. It looks like the one log dam is real close to overflowing. We'll be there in a sec. Well, I bet if I was here maybe 30 minutes ago in the rain, I probably would have seen it overflowing. I mean, it is about 1 inch from overflowing. That's pretty cool. Anyway, I think the rain's over. We got a little sprinkle right now, but if it rains again before I'm done recording, I'll run over here first. All right, got another little brush dam, which my brush dams, I like to put it up against a thicket. Like the other one I showed you is pushed up against a thicket. I didn't have it here, so I set 4 cedar posts, drilled some post holes, set it in there to keep the water from pushing this in. And part of what I plan on with these brush dams is getting a leaf fall. I mean, these live oak trees, they just shed all their leaves all at once, and they end up in the ground getting washed and getting pushed into these brush dams and start kind of clogging it up. It never makes it waterproof, but it slows it down a lot. So this is a little area I dug out before my original pond. And then we've got some trees that just naturally fell that I left. It just looked like it belonged. But anyway, after the level came up, I went ahead and lined some rocks and put some little rocks in the gaps to kind of mortar it in. But this pond is actually pretty low also. Well, I want to show the big swale, which is uphill over there. I'm gonna walk over there. Starting here at the big swell, which I'm trying to think of how long this is, but kind of checking it out. It's got water the most of the way, but I did find a high spot, and I marked it. So I got this area that's probably 20 feet long that doesn't have any standing water. So I marked it with a rock here and a rock there, and I got a couple sticks on the ground too. So I need to come out and in this dry area dig out probably about 6 inches of dirt from here. But past this little section, the vegetation kind of throws it for a loop, but you can see there's solid water all the way down. Should be counting my footsteps. See how long this thing is, because it's pretty big. I need to step over this electric fence, which is hot. And then the water is actually flowing out right here, which is on the highest part of my property, which is good. I don't think I've ever really been able to see where the water goes after it exits, so I'm gonna follow it real quick. Yeah, it's definitely flowing. And this is actually, you can hear my footprints. I'm actually in water right now. I'd cut another just with a, what do you call it, I don't know, trowel or disc or something. I just cut one trench along here, and it's actually catching the water and filling in and actually pushing it a little bit more, changing the directions a little bit. Looks like it's pushing it deeper into my property, which is good. So now I'm looking at the standing water over here. So I'd say it pushed the water to the right about 6 more feet. And then we're still in standing water here. And looks like it's just going to make it to the overflow of my original pond. I mean, I need to build another, where I did that little trench thing. I need to just make it another swale to catch all the overflow runoff. I mean, having it run into my overflow of the pond is kind of disappointing. I guess I'd rather have it flowing into my pond. Anyway, we'll figure that out. Okay, well, I came out here to my backyard. This is the last project I probably videotaped. It was my mound pond, which was just a little, like almost a round circle right here. But it's the only pocket pond I have that actually held water. This is limestone rock, but a lot of clay in there. It holds water. The water just sheathing down from here, almost like a roof. And you could call this the gutter on a roof. I mean, I kind of built a little terracey steep thing here, so water comes down, hits that, flows into it. But it just blows my mind that it does hold water, and it does. I mean, it does. It just kind of blew my mind. It's the only one on my property where I just dig a hole and it held water. But that's kind of about learning what your soil types are and identifying them. Anyway, we had 3/10 of an inch of rain, and it probably had 6 inches of water in it, and now it's probably, I would guess 18 inches of water in it easy, if not more. So kind of happy about that. This is my big hidden hugelkultur project, but from that high spot there all the way across here was like a cliff. The ground just went down to a cliff probably 6 feet, and I just brushed I piled brush up against it, put dirt, more brush, limbs, whatever. And then when the final capping of the dirt, I actually wanted to create a little moat, which you can see it basically worked, but I was scooping the soil from here, packing it on top. Like I said, I wanted a moat around it where water would just be held in place, and so far, this is probably the first time I've seen it in a rain or came out here and looked at it, but it's definitely working. It's holding some water. And I also kind of planned for the sinkage, you know, thinking once it sunk down, it would be level to the ground. And if you look at, you know, taking the moat out I cut, if you look at it going across, I mean, I pretty much nailed it as far as the height, you know, just, it was probably a foot or two higher than that, and then sunk down, and it may sink in some more. Anyway, and then, so that mound pond we dug out with the excavator, I was making this road here. And I'm not seeing any blowouts. I mean, right there is a low spot, and you can see it over here, that's a low spot, and I'm not seeing, I was expecting a big rain to just wash the rut out through there, but it doesn't look like it happened. And then we'll go look at another pocket pond that doesn't hold water, but I cleaned it out a few weeks ago, made it deeper. I mean, these things kind of silt in a little bit, but, and this is all surface, it's surface water, so it's going to have leaves and soil and stuff like that in it, but, you know, water comes down from the horses area, so it's got a lot of horse manure in it, so it's good to kind of get a place for it to settle. And when it runs in here, settles down, when it overflows, I've got these rocks that I mortared in with some decomposed granite, so the hard water flow wouldn't move the rocks. And then I'm going to show you one other thing over here in the backyard. Okay, so this area here, I almost call it a 100-year floodplain. It's kind of concave, or kind of sloped like that. So I ended up building a berm across there to hold water, and then I put wood chips in it. But you can see the standing water that's on there, so that's the water that's being held back. But I'm kind of thinking eventually it'll, if it's stopping the water flow, and the water flow has all the sediment, and from the brown water you can tell it has sediment, it's going to settle in there and start building that up, and should be good rich soil. But going back to that last pocket pond right here, water flows down over here. You can see it kind of, it's still flowing right now. You can see the rut it's got. But this is my road. The building up here used to be a feed store, used to be part of this property, but it got sold separate when I bought this ranch. Anyway, this was just a little rut like this. I went ahead and just dug it out, let the water, I mean, it's holding a lot of water that's going to soak in. I mean, I wasn't sure if I was doing the right thing. I mean, I just went in here with a skid steer, and it's pretty sharp sides on it, so I don't know if it's going to start eroding, and I'll end up losing this road. But like I said, I don't own what used to be the feed store, so this road's not important. You can see right over here, this is the new road I'm building right here. Anyway, so the water flows underneath the culvert, and then I dug this area out also. And I still got the remnants of a big cedar elm tree that fell over. Anyway, this is what 3/4 of an inch rain does when it comes all at one time. It's pretty cool, because we sure did need it. I mean, we are way behind in the last 2 years. All right, well, y'all have a nice day.